Erasmus has named his first Springbok squad. It's a pretty big squad at this point. It's likely to get the trim as we go forward, but yeah, which means most of us who picked a squad to start with are still right, because yeah, most of the big names are still here. A few missing though. So I'll just quickly go through the squad for those of you who haven't seen it. The props: Thomas du Toit, Kitsoff Low, Malherba, Mtora, Noche, and Inyakani. The hookers: big news with Bismarck du Plessis being back, Mbonambe, Relapele, and Van der Merwe. Locks: Peter Stiff du Toit, Jason Jenkins, Mostert, Ori, Snyman. Loose forwards: Carr, the Dupree brothers, Kolisi, Mahoje, Noche, Smith, and Vermeulen. Halfback or scrum half, depending on whichever place you're from: de Klerk, Papier, Van Ziel, and Wright. Fly half: Robert Dupree, Janches, and Pollard. Midfield: De Allende, Esterhuis, and Creel, and Steyn. Outside backs: Bosch, Dianti, Galant, Ishmael, Leroux, Mapimpi, and Nkosi. So yeah, it's a lot of uncapped guys here. You got to think that yeah, there's a lot of guys who play similar kind of positions. You've got Nkosi, Mapimpi, and Dianti, who are all kind of uncapped guys, all mostly specialising on the wing, although Dianti played in the midfield recently. You got to think it's unlikely those guys will get all through, with you know, guys like Galant and Bosch more specialising in fullback. Plus, I mean, Leroux, he can play any of those, so being the overseas player, you got to think that he's probably safe from the chop. Same with Bismarck du Plessis, he's the overseas player. There's no point in calling him up if you're just going to chop him out. He's probably the best like-for-like replacement of Malcolm Marx, if there is such a thing. So yeah, I guess it's a big man for a big job. Who else is the overseas guys? Dwayne Vermeulen, he'll be there. Frans Steyn. Looking at these names, you got to think that Rassie's going for size. He's going to put a pretty big team on the park with those guys that he's chosen from overseas. Only Leroux is kind of your skills-based guy. Although, I mean, not to say the other guys aren't skilled, but they have the size to go with it. Some guys who missed out, you're looking at guys like Andres Kutsia, Rowan Combrink, although his defence has been kind of suspect of late. Rowan Dreyer, Rowan Botha, Uza Kasim, Francois Venter, all these guys kind of losing out to what is a pretty competitive looking list of guys. I guess in terms of bolters, guys who perhaps weren't expected, it's still a bit early to say that, because like I said, we haven't had the squad trimmed yet. I mean, Jason Jenkins is probably making his way up through the ranks pretty quickly, but also helped by the fact that Etzebeth and Ludiaka are injured. Same with Marvin Ori. Snyman, I think, has probably been more tipped to make it than perhaps some of the other guys. Yeah, Crocker Smith deserves a call up for sure, even though he's uncapped. He's done it on the field. 4 scrum halves is interesting. Papier hasn't been getting a lot of game time of late, as some of you guys have pointed out in the comments. So whether he makes the chop will be interesting to see. 3 fly halves. Robert Dupree is the uncapped one, so he might be the one to face the cut. This might just be kind of an initial look from Rassie at him. And it's a pretty big look in midfield when you've got Steyn, Esterhuis, and De Allende to choose from. Those are guys who can all bust the tackle. Defensively probably deserves a shot. He's played before, but you know, see if he can kind of jump some of these other guys in the pecking order kind of remains to be seen. But yeah, it's a pretty strong looking squad. It'll be interesting to see who captains. Obviously no Warren Whiteley because he's injured. Guys like Marx, Oosthuizen, all these guys are all still out. So there's, I also mentioned Diaka and Etzebeth. So we'll see how he manages that once he trims the squad down. But yeah, this is just the initial squad. It's pretty impressive. But yeah, we'll see who the captain is, and we'll see who kind of makes the initial cut in the coming days. Alright guys, let me know your thoughts on the squad. Any other one else you can think of that kind of... Oh, I should mention de Klerk as well. Shoe-in for number 9. I didn't mention him earlier. But yeah, let me know who you think probably could have made it that's not here. And I'll talk to you again soon. See you later.